Hi Year 7s, welcome to our first maths lesson online. I'm going to be taking you through some polygons today, so we'll look at what they are and all about them. The first thing we need to look at basically for today is what are polygons, what makes a polygon, and also we're going to practice some of the vocabulary that's all around polygons. It's going to be vocabulary we use for most of the geometry that we're going to be looking at, especially with an assignment coming up. And it should be revising. None of it should be new. Hopefully, you know these words. It's just helping you remember that you know them. So let's get into it. What we're looking at are polygons. Now, to be a polygon, it needs to follow some very specific rules. So what makes a polygon a polygon? Well, first of all, it has to be a 2D shape. It's a flat shape. So all those shapes you were first introduced to in junior primary, squares, triangles, circles, 2 dimensions. They have length and width, but they're not thick like a box. To be a polygon, firstly, it needs to be 2D. Secondly, it needs to have all straight sides. If there is a curve, it's no longer a polygon. So we can have a square as straight as I can, well, that's not straight at all. But a square is definitely a polygon because all 4 of its sides are straight. If we have a semicircle, that's a little better, whoops, then it's not a polygon because it has one straight side, but it has this curve here. So a curve means we no longer have a polygon. So all those shapes that are not straight are not polygons. A circle, definitely not a polygon because it has a curve. They have to be closed shapes, so we can't have a shape that looks like this because it's not a 2D shape. It's just 3 lines joined together. If we look here, it's open. It's not enclosing anything, so that is not a polygon either. What else? Well, no sides can cross. If I have a shape that looks like this, that is not a polygon. It's actually 2 polygons joined together. As you can see, it's 2 triangles, and they meet at this vertex here. So that's not a polygon, that's not a polygon, that's not a polygon, but this one is a polygon. So sides can't cross, they have to be closed shapes, they need straight sides, and they must be 2-dimensional shapes. Every polygon is going to have angles. Got that? Hopefully. You can always go back if you miss some parts. What else? There he goes. We need some key words. So in the work that we're going to do for maths, once we recognise polygons and shapes that are and are not polygons, we need to be able to describe them with 4 key vocabulary words. So the next 4 words you'll need to know. At the end of the lesson, we'll have a very simple activity where you can just go and practice some of the skills. But let's have a look at that vocab. Firstly, the word regular. Regular shapes have all the sides equal. Every side of a regular shape is equal. And they're the shapes you tend to see and recognise. So the triangle on a give way sign is a regular triangle because all of its sides are equal. The octagon on a stop sign is a regular octagon because it's got its equal sides. So we can see this shape here, it's a square, it's regular. If I was doing some maths work, I could add these little symbols, and that tells whoever's looking at my shape that all 4 sides are equal. It is a regular shape. Another example, we've got that classic regular octagon. All 8 sides of our octagon are equal. So that means it's a regular octagon. Notice how octagon finishes in agon, and we're looking at polygons. So that's always a key that it is a polygon we're looking at. Did I give you another example? Yes, I did. This one is a decagon. It has 10 equal sides. Because of the equal sides, we call it a regular decagon. So we have a regular decagon here, a regular octagon, and a square. Because it's a square, we don't have to say regular. But I guess a square is a regular quadrilateral, a 4-sided shape with equal sides. So that's the word regular. Hopefully that one's in your head. We then have irregular. So if we know that a regular shapes have equal sides, irregular shapes, not all of the sides are equal. So the obvious example is this rectangle here. These 2 sides are equal, These two sides equal each other, but not all of the sides are the same size. This shape here, it is a, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's got lots of sides, but it's irregular because as you can see, it's got some long sides, it's got some short sides. They're not all the same size, so it is an irregular shape. There we have an irregular trapezium. So we have sides that are not equal. You can have a shape where 5 sides are equal, but one side is different in a 6-sided shape, and that's irregular. So regular, all the sides are equal. Irregular, not all the sides are equal. 2 words to go. Let's have a look. Congruent. Congruent shapes are exactly the same. We use the word congruent in maths very specifically to say these shapes are perfectly identical. So they have the same shape and also they are exactly the same size. Here are 2 congruent, whatever that shape was. So as you can see, they are both the same width, they're both the same height, and they have exactly the same number of sides in the same arrangement. They are congruent shapes. Here's some more congruent shapes. These 2, they're weird looking shapes. They are polygons because they've got straight sides. There's no curves. They're closed in. They are congruent because they match perfectly. So if you have all of the paper in your printer at home, it's all A4. They are congruent sheets of paper because they're exactly the same size. They're exactly the same shape. So the opposite of congruent, well, it's not quite the opposite, but a difference from congruent is similar. We use similar in our vocabulary all the time. They might say you're similar to your brother, or our cousins are very similar in their tastes. Well, in maths, similar means same shape, but different size. So you can see these 2 circles here. They're both circles, but one is a big circle and one is a little circle. So they are similar. They'd be congruent if they were the same size, but they're different sizes, so they are similar shapes. And remember, circles are not polygons because they have that curve. If we look at these 2 that have just appeared on the screen, they are exactly the same shape. They have the same proportions, but one is smaller than the other. So these are similar shapes. So similar, same shape, different size, and congruent meant exactly the same size, exactly the same shape. So that's our 4 words we need to know. Similar, congruent, regular, and irregular. And we also need to be able to recognise polygons. Now I have a task for you to do. It's a very easy task. It's not going to involve a lot of writing, but you are going to need to go around and have a look in your house for things to see. So the task is go and gather examples of some shapes forming. Now, I'm not asking you to go and get a triangle and a square. We're going to use the vocabulary we just learned. So you're going to look for some 2D shapes. So not a 3D object. You might get a tissue box and the 2D shape would be one face of it. So it might be the base of that tissue box is a rectangle. So you could have a look at that and say it's congruent to the top of the tissue box because they are both exactly the same size and exactly the same shape. So go and gather the stuff, find 2 shapes that are regular polygons, find 3 irregular polygons, find a pair of similar polygons and 2 pairs of congruent polygons. If you get them, take a photo like I've got here and just label them for me. So as you can see on this side, I've got this little post-it note and it's the same size and the same shape as this post-it note. So I've labelled them as being congruent. Down here, I have a square of the face of that Rubik's Cube, and I have another post-it note because these 2 shapes are regular. They have exactly the same length, sides, all the way around. If we go up here, I've got 2 similar shapes. This memo book is exactly the same rectangle as this exercise book, but one is smaller than the other. So they are similar shapes. And down the bottom here, I have 2 rectangles. That means they don't have the same length sides all the way around. Not every side is equal, so they're my irregulars. So all I need you to do, gather some shapes up, make sure they match these criteria, make sure they match these criteria. So go and find 2 regular polygons. Any shapes that are closed, that have straight sides. Find 3 irregular ones, so it could be rectangular shapes. Get into the kitchen, go and look around lots of other places and find things that have straight sides. They'll all have to have straight sides and that are polygons. Then find me 2 polygons that are similar, the same shape and the same, but slightly different sizes. Paper's a good example if you get stuck. The last one I want you to do is, can you find 2 pairs? So that's 4 objects, 2 pairs of congruent polygons. So find 2 shapes that are exactly the same size and shape, and then go and find something else that's the same size and shape of the others. If you need help, email or message me on the Microsoft Teams, or you can email me. You should have my email address. Put it into the assignment tab and I'll get it marked and let you know how you're going. It's just a quick activity, shouldn't take very long, so enjoy. That's it for me. I think I know how to stop it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Make sure you get all of your work done, and then after that, relax, watch a movie, do something else. See you later.